Welcome back to Financial Independence 101. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about Kamala Harris's financial plan for the country. Well, lack thereof. Now, she's been talking about lowering taxes and making things more affordable at the grocery store and your energy prices being cheaper. Now, if that's true, that means that A, she's going to do that. She would have to repeal every policy since January of 2021 and do a complete and total utter 180, the opposite direction of everything Democrats have been doing, go against everything the Democrats are doing if she is to do that. That's the only way to accomplish that in America. But I would think she's just going to go right along with what's been going on and Democrats have been doing. The reason for that is because Kamala Harris is nothing more than a puppet. She's going to come from a long line of puppets. Joe Biden was a puppet. There's a long line of puppets. Even Obama was a puppet. Now, he's a very smooth talker, and he almost won me over when he started talking about personal responsibility, but we know personal responsibility is not anywhere in the Democrat agenda, so of course he was told never to say that again, and he never said that again. And so I was like, yeah, he threw that out in one speech and never said it again. But she's just going to carry on the same agenda that's been extremely devastating to America for the last 3.5 years. But what they have planned for the next 4 that they've already revealed, with 45% taxes on capital gains when the rug's pulled out from the market. Well, this is crazy. There's no chance she'll lower taxes. No chance she'll lower energy when they're wanting to shut down 1/3 of electrical generating plants in America by 2030. There's just zero chance. The rampant, massive overspending that they're going to continue doing. And right now, it's on hold. Their spending's on hold. Once the election's over, it's going back to massive overspending by $2 to $3 trillion over budget every year. Now, I found this article, and it is almost 2 weeks old, but it's still, the information's still about the same. Nothing's changed, unless Kamala's changed, which I don't think she has. So anyway, we're going to be discussing this and taking a look at this. The sudden withdrawal of President Joe Biden for re-election has turned the presidential campaign on its head, with Vice President Kamala Harris now face the Republican candidate Donald Trump. And this point here, they took Biden out, and it's funny too because you almost forget Biden's even there, because you only see him 15, 20 seconds a week at most in a quick clip where he was coherent enough to make some statement, and then they put him back away. That's who's technically, quote unquote, running our country, but it's proof that Biden was never running our country. It's always been other people making the decisions behind the scenes, of course, making decisions for globalists. Same exact thing Kamala's going to do, but Kamala wasn't voted into anything. In fact, she wasn't voted into the vice presidency. She's just on the ticket with Joe Biden, and so people voted blue no matter who, because they were told voting for Trump and low taxes and low expenses, low cost living was bad. So that's the truth. She got 1 to 2% of the vote when she was running in 2020. Nobody wanted her in 2020. Nobody wanted her a day before they removed Joe Biden. And then all of a sudden, all the Democrats got on. She's wonderful. She's amazing. She's the greatest. But just remember that time frame right before they removed Joe Biden. Nobody wanted Kamala at all. Harris as the vice president, what did she do? I want to point this out because she's been on The View and she's been on some of doing these other interviews, and they ask her, would you do anything different? She said, no, not really. I wouldn't have done anything different than Joe Biden. Now she's trying to distance herself from Joe Biden. So what is it? Is your plan going to be different than what Joe Biden's been doing? Or are you going to do this more of the same? And she's going to do more of the same. It's obvious she's just going to do more of the same. And maybe go in even different, more left-wing approach. But it has nothing to do with her beliefs or Biden's beliefs. It's literally the teleprompter speech that got put in front of her is the only difference that day, because she's not even going to be making the decisions. Biden's not making the decisions. I don't even think Biden gets to pick his meals anymore. Harris, the U.S. presidential-elect Democrat candidate. We already kind of know that, but as of August 7th, she's the nominee for president, securing the nomination at the Democratic convention. But she wasn't voted in. Still, she wasn't at all voted in. Democrats have risen in the polls. And yeah, she has She fares better in the polls than Biden, but yet she has zero substance when it comes to things. You know what she has substance about? It's a 12%, maybe 11%, 12% topic, and it's abortion. And I got to tell you, most guys aren't too concerned about that. The men aren't as concerned about that topic. It's like number 20 on our list. For me, it's like the 20th issue. And there are some few select small groups. Younger females obviously would be the larger group that this would play to. But at the end of the day, if you're just running on abortion and you're saying you want freedom over your own body, but you're still with the campaign, you're still with the Biden administration that fired tens of thousands of nurses because they refused to take an untested vaccine shot. So it wasn't tested for 7 years like it should have been. Climate change. Now, when Biden got into office and Kamala was clapping her hands right next to him, he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline and they canceled permits for drilling. And there's a whole lot of other things that they've done for quote unquote climate. But the problem with that is the fact that we've had 3.5 years of extreme financial pain, mostly for lower income and middle class people. People at the top, if their electric bill goes from $1,000 to $2,500, they don't even notice it. Like, their accountant might tell them that in passing. They're like, okay, what do you want for lunch? And at a lower income levels, when you go from a $300 or $400 electric bill to $1,000, like we saw in 2022, especially with the heat, with the gas prices for your heating, it's financially devastating. And now they report that the climate has gotten worse. So where global warming's gotten worse after you financially decimated American citizens with some of the worst climate change or some of the worst energy policies that could even be conceived of, and they've got bigger, even worse conceptual plans going forward. They actually have a plan to shut down a third of our electrical generating plants. Anything that uses fossil fuels must completely rebuild itself to 90% less emissions, or they're shut down. Economic policy, she's proposing a wealth tax. Now, here's the problem. The people that are writing these laws are part of the top 1%, 1.5%. And all of these laws, including the wealth tax, would affect them. There's no way it's going to happen. But they're proposing it. Now, if they do get a wealth tax in, these people at the top are going to have some of the greatest financial minds, these accountants that will hide a lot of their assets and move things around, legally launder their money around so they don't have to pay the taxes. But eventually, this wealth tax will go to the middle class. It happens all the time. If they can get it passed, it's going to hit the middle class eventually. And that's how it always works. But it probably won't go through. And what they're saying is that they're going to tax billionaires at, their unrealized capital gain. Meaning anything that they own, any asset, any stock that's gone up in value, it's all paper value. They don't have the cash sitting somewhere. Well, now you owe $27 million in appreciated amount. So you'll have to go around selling assets everywhere to create that $27 million to pay them. There's so many flaws in this theory that it's insane. Most of the billionaires have their wealth in assets and in asset appreciation. They're not getting W-2s or 1099s or none of that stuff. They literally own everything, and as massive rapid inflation, the hyperinflation would make billionaires into trillionaires, and they wouldn't even care. It's not a big deal. They wouldn't care about hyperinflation. But this wealth tax proposal, zero chance of it happening. Minimum wage increase proposal. Now, what I want to say about minimum wage is that $7.25 is low. A lot of companies are already paying people for their worth. So without increasing minimum wage, Target's paying $15 an hour, Walmart's paying $11 to $13 an hour, McDonald's are paying $11 to $13 an hour. So you're sitting there saying we have to force this minimum wage increase. Well, there are mom and pop shops, there are places that are hiring people that they're still paying $7.25, $8, $9 an hour, that once you up it to 15 or 20, then those jobs will completely go away. The owners of these businesses, and that's That's about 10% of the jobs. They'll just go away because they won't be able to afford to pay that new rate. And we're talking entry-level workers have less options out there. People who hop jobs a lot, they get their wage reset because every 3 months they screw up and they get fired and they got to go to another job. Then they shouldn't be getting rewarded with a $15 an hour minimum wage. But looking at all of this, don't you have a heart? If $15 is good, then why not $100 an hour? $100 an hour would be better. But if you really are angry that Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos exists and they make 1,000 times more than their employees, well, why not force every employer to pay $1,000 an hour? So any argument you have against $1,000 an hour is the exact same argument against $15 an hour. You can't have it both ways. $7.25. I mean, I understand the thought here, but it'll probably end up happening. Harris's foreign policy stance is she doesn't even really have one. Whoever behind the scenes tells her to do, she does. The massive amount of money that they're going to send to Ukraine, she'll just keep sending it, and they're going to be coming after you for your taxes. They're going to keep spending all this money creating out of thin air and cause massive inflation for you. You're going to be the one. You're already sitting at 130% increase in prices and cost of living in America since January of 2021. And that's those Democrats that did that. And they're looking to do that even yet again for the next 4 years. So you got to think, it's already up 130%, another 130 to 150% by 2028. That's their goal if they keep doing this. The foreign policy stance, sending all this money overseas, and of course, asking all these illegal aliens to come over here, please come over here, and paying them $4,000 stipends every single month, paying to put them up at $400, $600 hotels. It's insane. Yeah, that's her foreign policy stance. Guess what? It ends in World War III, and I'm not saying it's the next step. It ends in World War III. Also, they've made sure to update the draft, and they've made sure to include females. Remember, because nowadays you could just check a box and say you're a female, so you wouldn't get drafted. So they have to include that. Crazy world we live in, and her foreign policy stance is, remember the botched Afghan withdrawal? I mean, all that stuff's there. Those are all things to consider. I remember 4 years of no new wars and the rest of the world respecting America under Donald Trump. And, this is a good point. This Ukraine war has been going on for 2 years. And we haven't really got anywhere. Shouldn't it have been over? Shouldn't have something been resolved by now? No. This is going to be a forever war, or until no Ukrainians are left, which is terrible and sad. And back to the migrant issue, that they haven't done anything at the border. Let's put this out there. They keep saying that the bipartisan bill would have fixed it. Let's explain this. The reason it was squashed was because they were going to do absolutely nothing at the border until they stood there with a counter and counted 4,400 illegal enterings for the day. That's when they could start beginning to do something under this bill. So let's turn this around. The bill actually protected 4,400 people. That's the minimum. Those need to be allowed in every single day. 4,400 a day. The bill should have been 0. Everybody comes over here legally, the correct route, or they're pushed away. That's the way it should be. It's utterly insulting to every American citizen that came over here legally, that is an immigrant, and they legally came over here. They went through all of the due process, jumped through all the hoops, however many years it took them. And now they're having to see this. How does that make them feel? Do you not care about immigrants' feelings watching this? I mean, my grandmother is rolling over her grave right now. But anyway, this is Kamala's financial plan, for better or worse. And let me say it's worse. But anyway, let's hope we don't have to deal with that November 6th. Financial Minutes out.